Hayley Stavely.
Rosanna Waterland.
In 2017, at the 89th Academy Awards, La La Land is announced as the winner of the Oscar for Best Picture. The entire team from the movie heads up to the podium. They're all hugging, the audience is applauding, but halfway through the acceptance speeches, a panicked-looking Oscar staffer runs across the stage. Confusion slowly spreads through the Dolby Theatre. Nobody understands what's happening until La La Land producer Jordan Horowitz grabs the microphone and says, "There's a mistake. Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture. This is not a joke." This is just the winner of the La La Land Moonlight Oscars mixer.
Good one. And Sarah Murdoch was like, guys, I've been there. I know how this feels.
And Steve Harvey, an American TV host who announced the wrong Miss Universe winner, he's kind of referenced in this story too because he's also been there. Yes. Did you watch this when it happened?
Yes.
Same.
And I, for the slightest second, thought it was a bit.
Same.
But then I was like, that'd be a pretty mean bit.
That's a mean bit.
And then I realised that things were getting handed back and people were awkwardly shuffling away from the microphone.
Yeah. It all, like the way I'm going to explain it today, I'm sort of giving a detailed, just the gist of what we saw watching it. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to give it just the gist of like, how it happened behind the scenes.
Yes, amazing.
But even when I was putting the just the gist together of how it happened, I was like, gosh, there's a lot to this. You kind of forget that it all took place in like 3 minutes. Like it was all very fast, but there's just a lot going on in like 3 minutes. It's a lot.
Yes, because I don't remember how, like obviously there would be so many fail safes and double checkings and stuff. I can't remember anything about how all of them seem to fail. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Oh, well, it all comes down to a bit of a why are men situation.
Oh, how surprising. How surprising.
So thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm with Hayley Stavely, our producer at Just the Gist. I'm Rosie Waterland. We put episodes out on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and members of the Bonus Gistner Club can hear extra stuff on Tuesdays as well. Join that at the Patreon or Apple Premium subscriptions. Okay, here is just the Gist Mini of the La La Land Moonlight Oscars mix-up.
Yoo-hoo.
Okay, so it's February 26, 2017, the 89th Oscars. The host is Jimmy Kimmel. Everything's gone smoothly all night. The vibes are good. There's been no major shocks or upsets in terms of like
slaps or anything.
Winning things. There's no slaps or anything. We're down to the last award, Best Picture. And the two most nominated movies of the night have been La La Land, which is, an old school style musical about trying to make it in Hollywood, and Hollywood loves movies about itself. That one stars Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling. And the other most nominated film was Moonlight, which is a serious drama about a young gay black man and like the difficulties he faces growing up in Miami, and that one stars Mahershala Ali. And some people at the time and since have compared those two films competing for sort of all the same awards as having a similar vibe to Crash competing with Brokeback Mountain back in 2006, which, it was a huge scandal when Crash won Best Picture over Brokeback Mountain. A lot of people considered Moonlight to be the better movie, but La La Land to be the more popular movie. And back in the day, that was sort of what people thought of Crash and Brokeback Mountain. But I would argue that's not a fair comparison. I think La La Land is, an objectively excellent movie, and Crash was terrible. So, I mean, that's in my humble opinion.
Well, I just think it's insane that there's one award anyway. Like, it's apples and oranges.
Once they're all nominated, even films that aren't nominated, I would argue even the short list of the Oscars, which then gets shortened down to the nominees, once you're on that list, they're all good enough to win. Do you know what I mean? Like, picking a best is so arbitrary, but that's how it works. So during the ceremony, Moonlight had won 2 Oscars, Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Supporting Actor for Mahershala Ali. And La La Land had won 6, Director, Actress, Score, Original Song, Cinematography and Best Production Design. So it was kind of having the bigger night of the two, but a lot of people were still hoping that Moonlight would win Best Picture because if it did, it would be the first film, written by it was written by two black men. It was then directed by Barry Jenkins, one of the men who co-wrote the script, and it had a predominantly black principal cast. That would be the first time a film like that ever won Best Picture. So people were still hoping that it would. So Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway walk out to present Best Picture, and they had starred together in Bonnie and Clyde in 1967. So this was the 50th anniversary of Bonnie and Clyde. So, that's a nice moment for the Oscars. They always have someone like a heavyweight or a heavyweight couple to come out and present the Best Picture award. There's a few concerns because Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway kind of famously really don't like each other.
Oh, really?
And I know you're not really meant to say this about women, but apparently it is because she's a nightmare to work with. I've heard he's not easy to work with either, but apparently she is just very difficult to work with, had been very difficult in, the lead up to this. They'd not really wanted to rehearse with each other much because they're just not each other's vibe.
Wow.
So there was that issue. Plus they were really old. Jimmy Kimmel said at rehearsal, he had concerns about how well they could see the teleprompter. So there was that kind of thing. But, they come out and the category goes fine. They read the teleprompter, all the nominees get mentioned. And then Warren Beatty opens the envelope and he pulls out the card, and it seems like he's about to say, and the Academy Award goes to, as he pulls out the card. But he pulls out the card and then he just freezes. And he looks confused. And then he looks in the envelope to see if something else is in the envelope. And Faye is looking at him what are you doing? She looks
an idiot.
Yeah. And then he looks into the camera, and I think he has a look on his face of he's trying to look into the camera at the camera producers going, guys, there's something wrong. And then he kind of looks off stage for a second. And then I think in an attempt to buy time, he says, and the Academy Award goes to, and he looks up again hoping maybe they'll bring it up on the teleprompter or something.
Yeah.
And then the audience starts to laugh a little because they think he's trying to play it up. He's building suspense and I don't know, just doing a little bit. And Faye gets the shits here. Because apparently it came out later that they had agreed he would open the envelope and she would say the name of the winner. So she kind of thinks he's trying to steal the moment. And so she gets the shits and she says to him, oh, you're impossible. Come on. Trying to be in on the bit, but can you stop doing this? We didn't plan this. And so Warren kind of shows her the card and he has this look on his face look, I'm not saying anything because look at this. Something's wrong with it. And he shows it to her and she just snatches it from him and goes, La La Land. And so the whole room erupts.
And the Academy Award for Best Picture.
You're impossible. Come on. La La Land.
And Warren Beatty's just kind of okay. And the La La team, cast, crew, whenever something wins Best Picture, everyone involved in the film who's there gets up on stage. And apparently they had drawn straws and 3 La La Land producers had decided they would speak from drawing the straws. That's how they picked them. So there was Jordan Horowitz, Mark Platt, and Fred Berger. And Horowitz gives his speech first and everything's normal. He finishes his whole speech. And then producer Mark Platt, and yes, he is the dad of that kid, that musical kid, Ben Platt.
Oh.
He starts giving a speech. And while he's talking, something shifts. People with headsets start appearing on stage. A stage manager runs over to Jordan Horowitz, who is holding the envelope that Warren Beatty had handed him with the Oscar, and he grabs it from him. And this is right on camera because they're standing directly behind Mark Platt. And at this point, it's like a skit. He's standing there thanking people while all this commotion, he's oblivious to all this commotion happening behind him. And so he just keeps thanking people. And Jordan Horowitz and Fred Berger, the third producer who's going to speak, they're kind of talking to the stage manager and everyone's looking concerned and confused and they're looking at the envelope. And then Warren Beatty walks over to them and they talk to him him. And then it kind of looks like they all agree, okay, Warren Beatty's going to go to the microphone and say something. And then when Mark Platt finishes his little speech, like still oblivious to everything that's going on behind him, Warren Beatty has the envelope back from Jordan Horowitz, and he starts walking towards the microphone, I guess to explain, sorry, something's gone wrong. But then Fred Berger, the third guy who was meant to speak, like, I don't know if he just still was confused or if he was like, it's now or never. So he cuts in front of Warren, goes to the microphone and starts giving his speech anyway. But he makes it really short. He thanks like his family, his wife, and then he sort of turns around to look, I guess maybe to get like one last confirmation, and then he just turns back to the crowd and in a kind of like pissy way, he goes, "We lost, by the way, but you know," and shrugs and laughs, like gives like a laugh.
I do not remember that.
Yeah, me either. And this is where Jordan Horowitz, who's the one that you remember from the footage going like, no, it's Moonlight. This is where he jumps in. Because he looks mortified that Fred Berger just like did that and said that. Like as soon as he says, "We lost, by the way, but you know," Horowitz shouts, "What? No, guys, no, I'm sorry, no." Like, and he puts his hand on Fred's shoulder almost like, don't act that way. Like, I think Jordan Horowitz was the first person with the instinct of, oh, we've lost and this moment needs to still be joyous for Moonlight.
Yeah.
This can't be about the fact that this is a screw up.
Yeah.
And so he kind of takes control of the situation and he looks over at the Moonlight team sitting in the audience and says, "There's been a mistake. Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture." And he points his Oscar in their direction, like, "This isn't mine, this is yours." And everyone in the room, like there's screams in the room. It's like 1,000 very dramatic people audibly gasping at once. Yeah. And the Moonlight team, the cameras don't go on them yet, but you can tell they must be so shocked that like they're not standing up, like they're not. And so Jordan, why would you believe? It's so odd. And so Jordan walks away from the microphone and steps towards where they're sitting and he like sort of yells out to them, "This is not a joke, like come up here." He's gesturing to them to come up, like, and his tone is really gracious, like, "This is your moment, not ours, like come up and get this.
Yeah, please let me leave and like take this mask off." Because you'd be mortified. Disappointed because you'd be want to win and then you thought you won and then you didn't. You just want to get away from everything at that point.
That's why, like, I don't really blame that Fred Berger guy for doing that little snippy line, like, "Oh, we lost, by the way," like, because you don't know, like, you would.
What a roller coaster.
1,000 emotions in your head and you're in front of all these people and like how mortifying.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah. And so as Jordan Horowitz is standing there trying to sort of convince the Moonlight team that this is actually happening, Mark Platt has since like finally been caught up to speed. And so he says into the microphone, because Warren Beatty, bless him, they decided he was going to be the one to go in and correct it, but he's just like old and he just keeps standing there looking a bit
waiting for the bus,
confused, too slow to get to the mic. And so Mark Platt goes to the mic and it is brutal because he says it right when the camera's on Warren Beatty. He goes, "Moonlight won Best Picture. This is not a joke. I'm afraid they read the wrong thing." And it's on Warren Beatty's face and he's like, hey, like, and so
I actually read it.
We lost, by the way, but you know.
Guys, I'm sorry. No, there's a mistake. Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture.
Moonlight won. Come on, this is not a joke. This is not a joke. I'm afraid they read the wrong thing.
This is not a joke. Moonlight has won Best Picture. Moonlight, Best Picture.
The audience like gasps. And a Los Angeles Times reporter in the room is live tweeting, "Everyone in here is fully freaking out." And I remember sitting at home on the couch freaking out, being like, what?
Yeah.
And so Jimmy Kimmel then comes over. He says later, "At this point, I realized I'm the only one who has my own mic, so I can go out and," because they keep just like beating Warren Beatty to the microphone and he's like trying to say something. So he goes in, he starts sort of trying to wrangle things, and just behind Jimmy Kimmel is a very sheepish looking man in a tuxedo holding another envelope. And he shows it to the stage manager, who immediately opens it. And then you can very clearly see that man in the tuxedo say shit. And the stage manager, who has grabbed the envelope from him, hands this new envelope to Warren Beatty, who is still just very slowly not really going to the microphone. And so Jordan Horowitz, like, he's trying to convince the Moonlight people to come up on stage. And at this point for him, I think instinct kicks in and he's like, Warren Beatty's going too slow. So he just grabs the envelope off Warren Beatty and he holds it like up directly into the camera so that everyone can see it. And he says, Moonlight, best picture. And he like is just standing there holding it. And that's when the room finally...
Here's my receipt.
Yeah. That's when the room finally applauds because like there is the proof. The card set, the camera zooms in really close on it and it says Moonlight Best Picture. And so the audience just jumps up into a standing ovation. They finally put cameras on the Moonlight team, which I think they'd been avoiding in case, you know, who knows what. So they finally start kind of standing up and hugging each other. They're all kind of laughing like, what? Like, and Jimmy Kimmel as host, he starts trying to lighten the mood and also sort of fill time while they kind of boot everyone from La La Land off stage.
Go back to your seats, guys.
To get everyone from Moonlight on stage. And he's standing at the microphone podium and Jordan Horowitz is still standing next to him. And Warren Beatty is on the other side of him. And Kimmel says, like, guys, this is really unfortunate what's happened here. I personally blame Steve Harvey. Like, he makes a joke because Steve Harvey had done that at Miss Universe. And then Kimmel just sort of makes a joke to Jordan Horowitz. He says, oh, you know, I think we should let you guys keep the Oscar anyway. Like, we should just hand out a whole bunch of them. But Jordan, like, doesn't laugh. He says, no, I'm going to be very proud to hand this to my friends from Moonlight. So that's sort of why he's standing there because he's like, I'll hand this over to them.
Yeah.
And then Warren Beatty finally... like gets in front of the microphone. He kind of looks at Jimmy Kimmel doesn't want him to talk, like, and it's already been announced anyway. But Warren Beatty's like, he like shoves his way over. And I think because he's like, I don't want everyone blaming this on me. Yeah. And so he goes over and he goes, hello. And Jimmy Kimmel...
Is this thing on?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, he's like 80 years old. And Jimmy Kimmel jumps in and goes, Warren, what did you do? Like, just sort of trying to lighten.
Why is he getting all the blame? Faye's the one who read it.
I know. Yeah, I think it was just like, you know. And
where'd she go? Did she just nope out?
She bounced.
Smart.
Faye bounced. And so Warren Beatty then says, I want to tell you what happened. And he has that thing that old people have where everything's about 3 beats slower. And it's like, by this point, all the Moonlight team were up on stage and it was like, it's already announced, like, let them
We've moved on.
Yeah, like, let them do their speeches and stuff. He's like, I want to tell you what happened. I opened the envelope and it said, Emma Stone, La La Land. That's why I took such a long look at Faye and at you. I wasn't trying to be funny. And, like, he's just standing there giving this really slow speech and the Moonlight team are there now. And so Jimmy Kimmel kind of tries to usher him along and he goes, well, you were really funny. And he kind of gestures like, move out of the way now. But I think, like, once a movie star, always a movie star. Like, even though Jordan Horowitz had grabbed the card, announced it, the whole Moonlight team are up on stage. The La La Land team had handed their Oscars over to them. They're now all standing behind Warren Beatty, just waiting for him to stop talking and move out of the way. He still wants to be the one to announce Best Picture.
Yeah.
So he, like, stays standing at the microphone even after Jimmy Kimmel's like, you know,
bye.
Move now, please. And he holds up the envelope again and he says, this is Moonlight, the best picture. And it's like, well, we did that. But, and then I think because it's Warren Beatty, like a legend of Hollywood, everyone cheers, like, okay, we can pretend like this is the official one. And so that's when finally the Moonlight team get to start giving their speeches, all in just a few minutes after Faye Dunaway had confidently said the words La La Land, and then as soon as commotion started happening, disappeared from the stage.
I love that.
So the Moonlight people are super gracious. Like, they do all of their regular thank yous, but they also thank the La La Land people for being so gracious about this whole thing. Kimmel does a very quick goodnight, and then the show's done. So that's what everyone at home saw.
Yeah.
I gave you that in detail though, because it really did happen very fast. So I watched this like 10 separate times to like wrangle where everyone was standing on stage, just so I could have it clear in my own mind.
Yeah. I want to watch it again now.
You've got to watch it. It is nuts. And a lot of the quotes I'm about to give you are from The Hollywood Reporter did an oral history of it about a year later, just talking to everyone involved on like to get their perspective.
Oh, how
on
good.
it. And so when you read that and watch it, you can kind of piece together exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So how did this happen? What exactly was happening?
What happened?
Well, like I said at the start, it was all because of one very overconfident, yet apparently incompetent man.
Uh-huh.
So for 83 years, an accounting firm called PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, they've been in charge of counting the Oscar votes, like the ballots, and managing the winners' envelopes. And like it is, as far as anyone had been concerned up to that point, the most secure, meticulously organized operation in show business. That's why they contracted out to like a very fancy accounting firm. They want the people who are good with the numbers, who aren't in show business, to be in charge of the most important thing in the world, who wins awards for playing pretend.
Yes.
So the whole thing every year is run by two PwC staffers, and it's like a very everyone who works at PwC kind of wants the role because it's like a cool, glamorous.
The only interesting thing about working there.
Part of the job, exactly. And they are the only two people on earth who know the results before they're announced. They each carry a briefcase to the Oscars, a locked briefcase that only they have the key to. And each briefcase contains a complete duplicate set of all 24 winners because they like – each of them stands on one side of the stage, and depending what side the presenters are entering from, they will hand them the envelope. But they each have all of the envelopes just in case.
Seems like it's surprising then that it hasn't cocked up before.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but they each have all of them, and they are also required to memorize every winner as a fail-safe. So in 2017, the two PwC partners in charge of the Oscars ballot and the winners' envelopes are a couple of workers called Brian Cullinan and Martha Ruiz. Martha Ruiz had worked her ass off for 10 years before being offered this role that she'd really wanted. She'd been doing it for a few years now. She was the first Latina woman to ever do it. She's hardworking, humble, does the job well apparently. Brian Cullinan was something else.
Briefcase wanker.
Brian had been the PwC balloting partner since 2014. So he'd only been doing it. This was his like 14, 15, 16, 17, fourth Oscars. And from basically the moment he got the gig, he leaned into it so hard. Like he loved it so much. He like tweeted celebrity selfies from the red carpet. He like would post like photos the whole night with like just all the famous people he could. He on PwC's own website that kind of says, here's our Oscars partner, he had them put in the caption that he's a Matt Damon lookalike because like I would say he's the Temu version of Matt Damon. Like you can see a resemblance there, but he's really proud of the fact people tell him he looks like Matt Damon. And then he like got a photo with him at one ceremony and posted it, me and my friend Matt, and like, and he throws a big Oscars party every year the night before the ceremony, like at his house. And apparently he boasts to people all the time about knowing the winners. And
I mean, I'm going like, I would be exactly the same.
And that's what, me too. And that's why I should never have that
job. It would
job.
become my entire personality.
Yeah, same.
100%.
And that's why we should never have that job.
But it'll be fine if we did it. It's just ill because he did it.
Yeah. So according to a lot of people at PwC, he developed a bit of a reputation in the 4 years that he'd been doing it, like that he was really interested in the celebrities and the glamour and all of that than he was in the actual job, which is an important job they've been hired to do. So
How much they pay them?
I don't know. You know what? In these big companies, I bet they don't get paid any extra to do this nonsense. Like, I bet it's just
it'd
like,
be like a perk. Like,
this is a perk for you.
An honour.
A former PwC manager wrote after all this went down, I always feared that Brian would one day screw this up. He seemed more interested in positioning himself next to the stars and taking selfies than doing his job. It was a bomb waiting to go off.
What? Someone's more interested in celebrities than maths?
What?
What?
So that PwC manager was in fact correct. In 2016, Brian had been involved in like a little skit on stage when Neil Patrick Harris was host. And in 2017, he asked the Oscars producers if he could do something like that again with Jimmy Kimmel. Like he really wanted to get back on stage. And in the week leading up to the ceremony, the Academy's publicity team had to contact PwC's publicity team and formally tell them to ask Brian to stop asking about it. Like he's not going to be in the show again. That was a one-time thing. And they also formally requested that he not post any social media from the show and particularly from backstage because it was considered quite inappropriate the year before, like him just like pouncing on winners as soon as they get off stage and asking them for selfies. So they were kind of already worried about how much he was posting and he kept asking to be in the show. And so they'd reached out to PwC being like, can you tell him to calm his farm and just do the numbers, please?
That's so embarrassing.
Brian does not follow that rule. So on the night of the ceremony, Brian's on his phone all night and he's tweeting, and we know this because he's tweeting photos with celebrities backstage, presenters, winners, whatever. He's tweeting the whole time. He's tweeting photos of his briefcase. Like he's tweeting everything.
His Twitter feed still there?
He deleted it that night. But I mean, it's archived.
Yeah,
like people screenshot it straight away. So then Emma Stone wins Best Actress and she comes backstage and Brian gets a selfie with her and tweets it, and he captions it, Best Actress, Emma Stone, backstage, #PwC. The timestamp on that tweet is 9:05 p.m. Brian had handed Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway their envelope to present Best Picture just before they had walked on stage 2 minutes earlier at 9:03 p.m. A producer later said, the lead actress envelope, which Leonardo DiCaprio handed to Emma Stone, came from Martha. So it made sense that Brian, on the other side of the stage, would still have the extra lead actress envelope. The protocol was that he would have it out until the winner was called and then he would put it back in his suitcase, which he failed to do because he was distracted by tweeting the photo that he took of Emma Stone when she came backstage with her new Oscar. So Brian was so distracted tweeting a selfie that when he reached into his suitcase to give Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway the Best Picture envelope, he accidentally handed them his backup copy of the Best Actress envelope, which said, Emma Stone, La La Land. Which is why when Warren Beatty opened it on stage and looked at it, he froze because he was looking at a card that said, Actress in a Leading Role, Emma Stone, La La Land. And so he was like, and he checks inside the envelope for another card. And he later said, I thought maybe this is a misprint. And then I thought like I shouldn't sort of foul up this whole show because someone's made an error. He's like looking in the camera, sort of being like trying to signal to the team, this isn't correct.
Yeah.
Like, and I think I have the benefit of hindsight, but when you watch it now, you're like, he's clearly trying to signal to someone on the production team, I don't have the right envelope in front of me. Like, but anyway, so he said.
It's such a shame that the other front runner was there because if it had been some other, actress in film, it would have been more obvious that it was a mistake.
Yeah, and apparently to Faye Dunaway's benefit, the way the cards were printed was quite weird because it said like Emma Stone in smaller print than it said La La Land on her Best Actress card that they had. So it was sort of Emma Stone small and La La Land big. So when he sort of showed it to Faye to be like, oh, we've got the wrong card, we need to just wait a second, she just saw La La Land and just went for it. Just went, La La Land. And, you know, I think it was kind of confirmed later that she thought he was trying to steal the moment from her, and she was like, F you, I'm getting in there. So she just said it. And so the La La Land team all come up, but like I said before, the PwC envelope reps, like the two PwC people, Brian and Maria, they have to memorize every winner. So immediately, Brian and Maria both would have known that this was the wrong winner and that it was meant to be Moonlight. The protocol is also, this had been confirmed with Brian and Maria the day before, that if anything ever goes wrong and the wrong winner is announced, it is their job as the trusted like ballot partners from PwC to immediately go out on stage and correct the error. Like,
You
don't
would have
worry
thought
about
that he'd be stoked for.
Yeah,
Sweet, I
like-
get to go out on stage.
Yeah, like don't worry about the cameras. Don't worry about talking to anyone. You just get out there as fast as you can with the correct envelope. Neither Brian and Maria do that. So Maria, I think, fine. Like if I was her, you're on the other side of the stage. You hadn't been the one to hand that envelope to the presenters. She knew it was wrong, but why should she have to run out in front of 100 million people? Like I think it's fair to be like she was waiting for Brian to clean up his own mess.
Yeah.
Does Brian run on stage though? No, he does not. So he very meekly tells a stage manager backstage that he thinks the wrong winner has just been announced. And Gary Natoli later said, the stage manager, he later said they had to physically push Brian and Martha onto the stage. He said John was trying to get Brian to go on stage. He wouldn't go. Martha wouldn't go. We had to push them out there, which was shocking to me. So the La La Land team are giving their speeches and Brian is refusing to go out. So the stage manager, he just runs out there and starts looking for the envelope to see what it says. And that's when you start seeing the commotion go on behind Mark Platt. And so they grab Jordan Horowitz's envelope. They see it says Emma Stone La La Land, so they know something has gone on. And this is when Brian, very sheepish man wearing a tuxedo, he comes onto stage very meekly and he's holding another envelope. And the stage manager later said of him, Brian was just kind of staring through me. And I remember saying to him, Brian, what's going on? Remember, we are on air. So for someone who loved being in the spotlight, it's not so fun now, is it, Brian? So he's just standing there on stage like, here's this other envelope, guys. And so the stage manager grabs it from him, and that's when Brian mouths, shit.
He's like, I just lost my job.
It just effed up. And so then he just stands there and kind of watches it all unfold. Like he just doesn't do anything. It's, you know, he is meant to be the person, the trusted numbers person who, if this very thing happens, he steps in and tells everybody, I'm the official numbers guy, but he just stands on stage like a deer in the headlights and just steps back like, ooh.
You'd want to, you would think. You'd want to be in there going like, I'm so, so sorry and, you know, trying to clean it up as best you could, not just standing there.
I think maybe if Maria had been the one to F something up, he would have loved running out there and doing this. But because it was him and he knew he effed up, I think that's why. So Jordan Horowitz later said he held up the card because it was just, there was a lot of confusion going on and he could tell that like most people in the room were incredulous and especially the Moonlight team just seemed like, wait, what, really? So he said, I think people needed real tangible proof because I needed it too. I remember looking out at that big broadcast camera in the back and thinking, I hope this camera person knows what to do. And then I grabbed the card and held it up. And the camera producer that manages all the shots and stuff, they did know what to do because they said as well, normally when something's going wrong, as you know, the person in charge of which shots are going out, you either cut totally, which we couldn't, or you go to a wide shot so that you're kind of like not giving any detail of what's happening. But he was like, this time his instinct was the same as Jordan's. When Jordan Horowitz held up the card, he knew zoom in as close as I can because everyone needs to see that it says Moonlight, Best Picture. So Mahershala Ali later said, it threw me more than a bit. I didn't want to go up there and take anything from somebody. It's very hard to feel joy in a moment like that, which really sucks for the whole Moonlight team because like I said before, this was an historic win. Like it was this first Best Picture winner in Oscars history with a black director, black writer, entirely black principal cast, and they're just sort of thinking like, oh no, we're ruining it for them, like for the Moonlight people. But I think that's why Jordan Horowitz was so praised after this for the way he handled it, because he just instinctually seemed to immediately understand that. Like, this can't be about how sad we are. This needs to be about them getting their joyous moment. And so he really, like, handled that really well, I think. And he later said, when asked about it, it was really important to me to keep the conversation about Moonlight on stage. I could feel the conversation becoming about something else, which I didn't want. And later that night at the Governor's Ball, Jenkins, the director of Moonlight, tweeted, Jordan Horowitz, wow, much respect to that dude. And Horowitz said, like, he tried the next day to watch the footage back and couldn't get through it and still finds it really hard to watch it.
It is lucky that he was such a classy... Because you can so imagine so many of those guys would have been angry.
Yeah. Oh,
and because the embarrassment, like in front of all of your peers and people you admire, would just be crushing.
Oof. Yeah. After the show, like I said, Faye Dunaway has gone bye. So she's gone.
And we never heard from her again.
Warren Beatty, though, he's been in show business a long time, and I think his instinct was he understood I will probably get blamed for this. So he has the envelope he was handed, the one that says Emma Stone, La La Land, and he also has the correct Moonlight Best Picture envelope. He's holding on to both of them and he's not giving them to anyone. A producer said, I'll let you look at it. I will not let go of it. And he's on the phone to Annette Bening, his wife, saying, and he's apparently he's like 6'5". They sent a security person over to be like, give us the envelopes. And he's got his phone to his ear in one hand and he's got his arm completely as high as it goes above his head in the other, holding the envelopes going,
like
I'm
Charlie,
not giving them to you.
The golden ticket.
And you can hear Annette Bening through the phone going, don't give it to them. Like, don't give it to them.
Annette Bening.
I know, so great. But I think he just knew, like, I need to hold on to, like, this chain of evidence so that the easiest thing to do, because Jimmy Kimmel assumed I read it wrong. That's why he cracked that Steve Harvey joke. The easiest thing to do here is just to blame me for reading it wrong. So I need to show this to the Academy president myself. This is what I got.
But again, it was Faye.
I mean, she read it, but But then she took off and he just stood in front of the microphone and was trying to, like, be the hero who fixed the night, but then he was too slow walking there and, disaster. So apparently Brian, when they're back there and Warren Beatty's not giving anyone the envelope and they're all just kind of like, what on earth just happened? He's just standing in the corner and he said they must have just got the wrong envelope somehow. And Warren is like, I got the envelope you gave me. Like, he is not, giving in on that. And Jimmy Kimmel later said he got the impression that Brian was really hoping he could just stand there quietly like Homer Simpson going back into the bush and that everyone would blame it on Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway for screwing up. But that's not quite how it went because Faye bounced and Warren would not let go of those cards. Yeah. So
thanks, Annette Bening.
There was crisis stuff that night. They were immediately watching the footage, trying to figure it out, looking at Brian's tweets. They piece it together very fast that he was distracted by the beautiful Emma Stone and handed the wrong envelope. Everybody goes to the after parties. The publicity teams kind of decide from both movies, we should all go to the parties together. Let's try and keep this. But it is apparently just a weird vibe. Yeah. Nobody knows if how they should talk to either side. Like it doesn't feel like the sort of pure congratulatory experience it normally would because it's so messy. Like
conspiracy whispers as well. Like
there was a lot of conspiracy whispers. Like Emma Stone didn't help things because she didn't realize that both PwC accountants have like copies of all the envelopes. And so when she was doing a press conference, she was like, well, I've got my Emma Stone La La Land envelope right here. So I don't want to say that Warren Beatty isn't like saying the right thing, but I have that envelope, so he can't have it. And it's like, he did have it. Like
We're
everyone
all there
was,
too.
yeah. So everyone was just, it was very like, what on earth happened? Can we be happy for, like, is it rude to be happy for the Moonlight people when this happened to the La La Land people? And should we, it was just like, it was a weird night, apparently.
It's crazy
Everyone
that
said.
that's not
Weird
like
night.
a thing that they're uber prepared for, like a fire drill situation. Like,
I guess,
the thing
I
has
mean-
happened. This is what we do.
It was about a week before the Oscars that year, actually. Brian had done a press interview because, of course, he said yes to whatever request he got. And they asked him what happens if the wrong winner is read. And he just basically said the likelihood of that happening is just so low. Like, I don't even have an answer for you, really, because it just won't happen, kind of thing. They had confirmed with them, though, the day before, just confirming with you guys, if that happens, lol, it won't, but if it does, you have to go out there. Apparently, a producer said, I'm just remembering, so this isn't exact, but they said something like, you know, we tell these guys, oh, you have to go out there, you're in charge of this, but it had never happened before, so we didn't consider that these are just two accountants who probably do not have the constitution to go out on stage when a mistake has been made in front of 100 million people. Like, that was just something we hadn't considered.
And like, what a room as well. Like, it's not
Yeah.
like going out in front of, you know, a conference or something.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like all these famous people, like every famous person you can think of is
Yeah.
right there looking at you in real life.
So what happened to Brian and Martha? The Academy president, Cheryl Boone Isaacs, confirmed the next day that they were both permanently removed from all Film Academy dealings. She was pretty brutal. She said they have one job to do. Obviously, there was a distraction.
So unfair for Martha. Why did she get taken down?
I know, it sucks. She just got caught, you know, brought down by an incompetent man. Really unfair.
Oh, what?
PwC took full responsibility. In a statement, their chairman, Tim Ryan, told the press that Brian feels very, very terrible and horrible. Martha Ruiz never comments publicly, and she kind of just went down entirely by association. Brian deletes his Twitter history that very night, and he has never spoken publicly about it either. Neither of them were fired from PwC, though. They
Really?
both kept their jobs at PricewaterhouseCoopers, but they were both fired from being the Oscars ballot representatives. PwC actually had to provide security for both of them in the days after because paparazzi were posting photos of their houses.
Oh, geez.
Like, it actually, like, although I'm joking about Brian being incompetent and why are men and Dunning-Kruger effect and blah, 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 like, it was pretty awful for him. Like, the cover of, I think it was the New York Daily News said, and the loser is, and it was like a picture of him, and his wife and kids were getting followed by paparazzi. Like, it was, that is a big F up.
Kids is not fair. Why, like, leave them
That's
alone.
a big F up to make.
Saying that
on a
he
world
didn't get
stage.
fired though. Like,
Yeah, no, he didn't get, neither of them got fired. They
what's
just,
a poor reflection on PwC and his professionalism and what they represent? Like, that seems like an easy fire.
yeah. Well, no, they allowed them to keep their jobs. Just
Yeah, Martha can stay. She was
They
fine.
go nowhere near the Oscars. And PwC also, their contract with the Academy Awards doesn't get cancelled.
Oh, what? I thought you were going to say
Yeah.
doesn't get renewed.
No, it doesn't get cancelled. The Academy decided, you know, it's an 83-year contract. Nothing has ever gone wrong before. This was just one guy who was an idiot. So
That's impressive.
New rules are introduced, though. The ballot reps can have no phones, no social media during the ceremony. A third ballot rep also has to be there to oversee the whole process. And the presenters must now verbally confirm with a stage manager that they are holding the correct envelope before they go on stage.
Like the nurses with drugs in the hospital where they have to like read
Kind
it out
of.
loud to another nurse. And
Yes,
Yeah,
kind of exactly.
smart.
Yeah, because it's that. It's just as serious.
It's much more
This
serious.
is Hollywood.
Didn't you see what happened when it went wrong? It's not like
mean,
a
it's-
small fentanyl overdose or something. This is the
No.
wrong Oscar winner.
No, this is Hollywood.
Hollywood.
So that's Yeah, 83 years of no mistakes, all undone by just one dude who wanted to be a celebrity so badly that he forgot he was just the numbers guy. And I kept thinking all throughout this, researching this story of the training that Zoolander has to do in the Zoolander movie where they're like, don't get distracted by the beautiful celebrities. Oh, my God, someone needed to put Brian through that training. Like, bro, you're there to be the numbers guy. Sorry.
They needed to put him in a simulation and throw things at him and
like little cardboard cutouts of like Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman pop up and he's like, no, don't get distracted.
Don't take a selfie, Brian. You can do it.
And that was Just the Gist mini of the La La Land Moonlight Oscars mix-up, which is,
so great,
as is so often the case on this show, just another example of why man.
I love that he has such a bland man name as well. No offense to any Brians out there, but
Brian.
It's
perfect. Perfect. Yeah, what a story. I thought I knew this one, but when I was researching it, I was like, wow, this really was like, just like even the time that they have the timestamp on his tweet that he sent, which meant he just could not have been focusing when he handed them the envelope. Like just so many details.
I'm just so surprised that, because I thought that it would be, wow, so many things had to go wrong for this to happen. But pretty easy to happen. Pretty surprising it hasn't happened before, really.
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
Stupid.
So, yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. Regular eps Wednesdays, Thursdays, and bonus content through the Gisner Club on Tuesdays. You're the best.
We love you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Just the Gist, a Just the Network production. Executive produced and hosted by me, Rosie Waterland. Produced and edited by James Joseph with additional production support from JTG team Kate Lever and Hayley Stavely and Acast legends Guy Scott Wilson and Simon McDermott. Looking for breaking news? It drops on the Just the Gist Patreon every Tuesday, along with a whole lot of other bonus audio, video, and behind-the-scenes content, which you can access for just $1, $1 a week by clicking the link in the show notes or searching Just the Gist Podcast on Patreon. Follow Just the Gist on Instagram and TikTok at Just the Gist Podcast and watch the video version of every episode on our YouTube channel, also at, funnily enough, Just the Gist Podcast. Follow Rosie, that's me, in all of the places at Rosie Waterland. Want to give us a suggestion? Tell Rosie to stop singing so much? Email us at hello@justthegist.com.au. Thank you, as always, for listening. Now go say something impressive at a dinner party. Bye.